Ooh, that looks tasty. Welcome, folks. Today the Hungry Gamer is back with another list, and today I'm doing my forever games. And what is a forever game? I don't know. But according to Barrett at Meet Me at the Table, it is games that were released before 2019 that are in my collection that aren't going to leave it, or at least as far as I can imagine, aren't ever going to leave my collection. They're not necessarily the best games in my collection. They're not necessarily the most popular games or the most mechanically beautiful games. They're just games that are in my collection that I just don't foresee ever getting rid of. Let's go ahead and jump in and get started. And the first one is Too Many Bones. Now, this is Undertow, which I think might be 2019. I'm not sure, but I can't pick up the Trove chest. And Too Many Bones itself is from pre-2019. So Too Many Bones is my first one. This is a adventure, crunchy, dice-chucking adventure that I just really, really enjoy. I have just about everything there is to offer for it, and it's just fantastic. The component quality is second to none. The game is just really, really satisfying, and at certain player counts can be very, very challenging. Pretty much everything about it has just been crafted with a great love and care, and it's just a blast. So, Too Many Bones, I do not foresee that ever leaving my collection. Now, the next one that I don't think is ever going to leave my collection is an interesting one because a different version of this is what I bought first. Because everyone's like, this is the best, this one's the best. And I got that version, I enjoyed it, and then I realized I hadn't played it in 18 months, so I went ahead and sold it on. But I wound up picking up the original version shortly thereafter because I always thought, man, I really blew it. I really like this other one more, and that is Clank. And just the original Clank, though, I do have, thanks to one of the subscribers who was kind enough to send me their copy along with some of the expansions they have with some of the initial expansions, and I've since picked up some more of them as well. To me, this is a brilliant deck builder. It's just so much fun. And to me, this is my favorite competitive deck builder, hands down. I love the adventuring and exploring through this dungeon that you're going through. I love that there's the Sunken Treasures one, or whatever it's called, and then there's the Mummy one, which changed things up a little bit. And the deck building is just really, really solid, and it's probably the only deck builder that I like, genuinely really like, that has cards that you're going to be using just to buy stuff, because in general, I don't like that. But the way this one works, it's just a blast. Everything about it I really enjoy. In fact, I like this version enough that I really want to get Clank Legacy, because I have a group of people that like playing Legacy games. We're almost done after a couple of years with Betrayal Legacy, and we're going to jump into this one next. It's just a classic game for a reason, I think. So, Clank. Now, the next one on my list is probably the first hobby game that I pre-ordered. No, it is. It's definitely the first hobby game that I pre-ordered. And I wound up learning about this game because I was at a convention. I was actually there to play role-playing games. Good buddy of mine, Max, just loves RPGs. And so I was there. I was trying a whole bunch of different things. And I wasn't really connecting with a lot of the games. And so there was one Star Trek RPG game that we were playing, and I just wasn't feeling it. And I asked my buddy Max, like, hey, Max, do you mind if I just dip out? There's a whole bunch of people waiting to get into the game, and so it wasn't a problem for the people running the game. And he was like, no, that's okay. And I went down and I was just playing some various board games and just really having a blast. I had never known how much I enjoyed playing random board games. And as we were leaving that night, Max said, I've heard of this game. It's a Polish game. Let's stop and check it out. So we played until, I don't know, 1 a.m. that night, and that is Mysterium. And so I say I pre-ordered it because the American version was coming out, and as soon as I heard, I put in a pre-order, and it showed up, got to play it on my birthday, and I love this game. Now, that said, I don't actually ever play it by the American game rules, which is actually a competitive game. The original Polish version is pure co-op, and I believe the new Mysterium Park is actually basically that as well. But Mysterium, I love to break it out around Halloween. I love to play it with people who aren't really gamers, because it just really shows them that games can be something else. And I love the art. I love the communication puzzles. I love sitting there as a ghost and listening to people and be like, oh my gosh, how can you be so wrong? And it's just a blast. So Mysterium, never leaving my collection. Now the next one on my list is an interesting one because this is a game that I also have the app version. And a lot of people, when they get the app version of this game, they toss the original. They don't toss it, they sell it. And it actually even has a new edition coming out. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. But this is one that I've played, gosh, almost as many games as anything else have I played of this. And that is Sentinels of the Multiverse. Obviously, this is the Villains expansion box that I have in my hand. And this is a game where you are playing with a different team of heroes. It's pure co-op, and you're playing against a villain, and each villain fight is going to take place in a different environment, and the environment's flipping different cards out there, doing different things, and the villains all do different things, and each of the heroes has their own unique deck and different strengths and weaknesses, and some of them are clearly better than others, and some are not nearly as good. Some are only really powerful if you pair them with another one, and you have all these characters, and you're bringing them together, and it's just a fun, delightful puzzle, and it can be as hard or as easy as you would like. And I just love playing. In fact, my wife, myself, Streamline Matt, and his fiance, we've been playing through this fan-made campaign of it that sees you play against all the different bosses and with all the different heroes and just having a blast slowly going through this. So I don't foresee Sentinels of the Multiverse ever leaving my collection. The question will be, do I eventually upgrade it to the second edition or not? I don't know. Now the next one on my list is one that I reviewed very, very early on the channel, and I just love it. It is my favorite deck building game, and though this one is pure co-op, and that is Red Dragon Inn Battle for Greyport. Now, you probably already know that I'm a big fan of this IP. I love the world that they have built in Red Dragon Inn itself without actually having much story. It's all built through the flavor text and the art on the cards, and it's just a very fun, tongue-in-cheek world, the type of thing that I love. I love the different characters, and this game here lets you actually play as those characters battling and trying to save the town. And so I really enjoy that, and it does something that I love, which is you're given coins at the beginning of each round, and that's what you're going to use to draft cards. So you never have those cards that are just filling up your hand that are to buy stuff, and I love that. It also combines some randomness in there of your rolling dice when you're playing your hero cards and their weapons and things. Most of the time, it's different dice that you're rolling, and you're trying to hurt things based on that. And the other thing that I really like about it is this is a very hard game. It is extremely challenging. In fact, initially when it came out, it was too hard. I've never beaten the tutorial as originally written. Now, they since put out an expansion and they retconned it, or not retconned it, they adjusted the tutorial. You were able to get new cards and so on, and it's now become significantly easier to the point where it's now, possible in my opinion. And it's great. I really enjoy it. In fact, I got a bunch of upgrade coins from some Kickstarter at some point just so I could, deluxify this game. Now, this is not hugely popular. It got one expansion. It's not going to get another one because it doesn't sell enough units, but I really do enjoy this one. It's just a lot of fun. Now, this brings me into my next forever game, and this is actually, the next one is the first hobby game I ever purchased, period. And I bought this several years before I got into hobby gaming just because I loved the sound of it. And that game is the original Red Dragon Inn. Obviously, this is just a small expansion box so I can pick it up easily because I have the all-in character box. It was actually really, really big. And that is Red Dragon Inn. Now, this is a game that I feel doesn't get the love that it deserves. And I also understand why it doesn't get a lot of love. And that is because this is a game that is pure, mean, take that, player elimination. It can feel unfair, you can gang up on people, and a lot of people don't like that kind of game. In fact, I usually don't like that kind of game. But as I said, the world is just so fun to me. And the whole idea just made me laugh the first time. So I went in, I was in there playing some kind of RPG or something, and I saw the game on the table. I was like, what is this? And they said, this is Red Dragon. I said, what's it about? And they told me, and I laughed. And I think I immediately, or the next week, went in and I bought a copy. And The idea is you've been out adventuring, doing stuff, and of course you're done, you've won, you come back, and now you have all this gold and treasure. So what do? You go, you gamble, and you have drinks. And I love it. It's just so delightful to play. It's a type of game that I like to have to kind of wrap up a night as people are ready to leave, or something that you could play at the very beginning of the night, and they can be your, okay, we have this big group of people. You know what? We're going to split off into groups, so let's play this game. As you get eliminated, split on off, play another game at another table or something like that. And I keep going back for more and more and more. Do I need all the characters to come out? No. Do I want them? Yes. Do I keep backing them? Yes, because I love the world, and it's just such a well done single mechanic game. Take that. I don't think you're going to find one that does it better than this. Now, the next one on my list, I was torn about putting on the list. And I've decided to not officially make it part of my list. So why am I talking about it? I'm talking about it because Barrett from Meet Me at the Table said he would stop talking to me if I didn't at least mention it. And that is Midarra. And technically, the game did come out before 2019. However, I never played it in that version. I've only played it with the re-release, the second edition that has significant changes. And that's one that I really like the game. And I don't think I'm ever going to let it go. But here's the other part of it. There are 2 more huge boxes eventually coming. I still have to remember, I have to go back them. I haven't backed them yet. But they're eventually coming, and maybe the game doesn't hold up. I don't know. But I have to put it in here as an honorable mention, which is very weird that I'm putting the honorable mention in the middle of my video. But whatever. It's my channel. That's what I'm doing. Please go down in the comments and tell me that makes no sense and it's ridiculous, because it really is. I just happened to forget to mention it at the beginning, and I don't want to go back and re-record. And if you're wondering, the game itself is up there, right here. It's really big, it's really heavy, and it's got some other games on top, so I don't want to take it down. Anyhow, moving into the next game that's actually for sure on my list. And this is one that is going to be familiar to anyone who looked at my Dungeon Crawl top 10 list, and that is Dungeon Alliance, with the caveat that it has all of the expansions, because that's what makes this game work. I love it. I adore it. I enjoy playing it. It's got just a skeleton framework of a story if you have those adventure packs, but it's enough that keeps me interested. The card drafting is just wonderful. It's a great combination of dungeon crawl, combat, card drafting, deck building, and cooperation. Now, with that said, I don't ever want to play this game with more than 2 players. I think it's great solo. It's a really long game. It just is. It's crunchy, it's puzzly, it's heavy. It is the most Euro dungeon crawl game out there. Fight me on it. Don't come at me with Gloomhaven, because it's not. This is more Euro than that ever will be. That said, I'm not slagging off Gloomhaven. I'm just saying, this one's more Euro. Anyhow, Dungeon Alliance, I really enjoy this game. I don't play it that often because it's so long, but man, it's not leaving my shelf anytime soon, if ever. Now we're down to the last 2. The first one is another one that, again, is right on that list of dungeon crawls, and that is Wander the Cult of Barnacle Bay. Another one that I just love. It has so many of the things that I like in a dungeon crawl. It's got exploding dice, it's got fun characters, it's got a solid story, it's got branching narratives where you make choices, you go different places. It's got a campaign that's not that long. I think it's a 12-game campaign, so you can play that through relatively easily. It's very easy to just kind of drop in and do one-offs. And it makes me happy when I play it. And it helps that my wife likes playing it as well. And the thing that I really like about it is, well, the exploding dice. I love that. I love the way the initiative track works. But the thing that I really like is each different game you can rebuild your character. And I just think that's great. Rebuild it based on the situation. Thematically, how does it make sense? I don't really know, but I don't care. I don't care. And I'm super excited for the expansion that's coming. But there's just no way that this one is going to leave my shelf anytime soon. So, Wander, Cult of Barnacle Bay. And this brings me to the last one on my list. And I put this one last because this is a game that left my shelf. And I regretted it. Not immediately. I was happy with myself for a while. I was like, oh, I cleared space on my shelf. Woohoo! But I've regretted it for a long time. And then finally, I got it back, and that is Galaxy Defenders. I am so all about this game. It's just so much fun. I love the way you build the characters. I love the, again, it's a very light story, but I love how fast and easy the AI is. I love the character building. I love the way the dice combat works. It's just so well done. And a lot of people like sword and sorcery better, but I don't. And the reason I don't is I find this far less fiddly. I do not regret getting rid of my sword and sorcery. I played that through. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Sent it on. I don't need it again. This one I always regretted, and I'm so excited that I was actually able to get this back with the 2 big box expansions, so now I got the whole thing. So, there you have it, folks. Those are my forever games, and it seems silly to me that we were talking stuff before 2019, but hey, those were the rules. That's what I went by. Do I have other games here that I really like? Yeah. Are there games here that I really like that are from before 2019? Yeah. But these are the ones, as I looked at my shelves, I was like, oh, yeah, gosh, I really like that one. Oh my gosh, I love that game so much. And so this is my list. I encourage you to drop down in the comments and tell me what your list of forever games are. Again, the rules are released before 2019, and you can't imagine it leaving your shelf. So there you have it, folks. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.